Okay, this is Mike Lovely from Lovely Strength Conditioning. Today, or whenever you use this, I guess this would be the first video that you're going to come to if you're on the Train Heroic app. And what we're looking at is we're looking at about 100 minutes of mobility. I've titled it that because mobility is what we're looking for, but we're really, well, mobility is what will happen as a result of looking up to clean up tissue. And the reason that we want to clean up tissue is because your performance is dependent on how high of a quality your tissue, the muscle tissue, the fascial tissue is. And every time you work out, every time you lift, every time you train, muscle and fascia tend to ball up, bind up, and can cause restrictions. So these videos that are here in this section are designed to show you hopefully exactly how you need to take care of issues. You'll notice that when you have pain, that there's some ways we can get out of it just with self-massage. And a lot of our day-to-day stuff, bumps and bruises even, can really, we can increase the healing process by just taking care of our tissue. And for the most part, a lacrosse ball is really all you need. If you had a lacrosse ball, you would be fine. But we'll use a roller. We could use a barbell, and there's some other tools that come in handy. But when we're talking about the foot, because this is the first one, we're talking about the foot. I would definitely say that you spend at least just a minute per foot where you're just kind of scouring, looking for spots that are sensitive, and kind of like if you find a spot like this one, it's a little more pressure, maybe even some movement with the toes to get that muscle to move underneath. I'm pinning that muscle tissue down on top of the ball, and then getting the muscle to move underneath, which does have a tendency to release the tissue. Now, you may have very sensitive feet at the moment. Mine aren't too bad, and so we would just kind of move on. If you come to a muscle, so it says 100 minutes, right? But the reality is that if you come to a muscle tissue and you don't feel anything, there's no trigger points, there's no tension, the muscle doesn't feel sensitive to the massage, then you can just move on. And often I want to encourage you to check everything, even if you don't think you're sore, and at least check it. And then you'll know for sure, especially if you have a lacrosse ball. Lacrosse ball is not very forgiving. It's hard enough that it will get in, and it's small enough that it will pinpoint areas really easily. Whereas a roller, if you have a soft roller, I've had people get on a soft roller, which actually the ones that I have are fairly firm. They're 6 inches though, and they're firm, but I also use an ABS pipe, which is just a hard pipe. And they say that they have no tension in their muscle tissue with the soft roller, but then as soon as I get them on a hard roller, then things change. So like I said, 1 minute, it takes 2 minutes to make change, lasting change. So if you do 1 minute where you're just scouring, and then we would go from the outside and we put pressure into the ball and peel across. And then I'm just gonna go slightly closer to the heel on every swipe. And I'm going to continue to do that until obviously my heel right now is my anchor point, but I'm getting to that point where I need to change the anchor point. And I'm just kind of scouring across the backside. Now I'm going to work my way back to the front. Okay, all the way to the front, still going pressure from outside to inside. And then I'm going to repeat the process, but I'm going to put pressure from the inside to the outside. Release, pressure inside to outside. Like I said, I'm going to be moving through these videos pretty quickly so that you can just do the work. You can obviously do it along with me as I'm doing it, but the video will end probably long before you need to end. Now, I've taken care of the tissue on both feet, and then anytime we massage a tissue, we're going to want to stretch the tissue. So in this case, and I have what we call a bony block in my big toe. So I don't get a lot of flexibility in my toes, but I'm just going to push my toes into the floor and then hands on the heels and then I can lean back, but that's about as far as I can go. That is extremely sensitive for me. But a lot of athletes, and you may be one of those people where you can just kind of lay your toes down, and nonetheless, you may not even feel much of a stretch. Whereas the lacrosse ball might be the one thing that really starts to loosen things up. So I realize that's a long intro video to the feet, but it's an intro video for the rest of the sections. And the rest of them will be a much shorter. All right.